Minimalists.
I'm a lifelong minimalist at heart, so simplifying my life and identifying values has always been really easy for me. And I only really own things that really bring value into my life at this point. But what brings the most value also brings a lot of agitation and compulsion when I lose them or they break. This partly has to do with a mental illness, but things like hair ties, t-shirts, pens. I have favorites of those things, and I'll lose them, break them, and I just can't focus. So I try to distract myself, meditate. I've even considered just removing all things that are my favorite. But the thing is, when they're not broken and lost and whatnot, they bring so much value into my life. And so I'm just really torn about how to bring calm into my life without just getting rid of everything I value.
So here's the thing. She said she's a lifelong minimalist at heart. And I appreciate the sentiment, but here's what I'll say. Minimalism isn't in the heart. It's in the actions.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's like saying I'm a carpenter at heart, right? But like, really, you're a carpenter only if you take the actions to build things. Mm-hmm. And minimalism is a tool in a way. And as a minimalist, I use minimalism to simplify my life. Now, I can really identify with Abby because I have OCD. I have many of the same compulsions, and she, in fact, even mentioned some of the things. Having hair. I don't have hair ties, but like she said, pins, and it's funny that we got this question right now because just this past week, I at home got rid of all of my pins that weren't uniform. You come into the office here, we have uniform pins,
yes.
Right? And it's because I have the same sort of neurotic struggles that Abby has here. And so what I do is I make sure when I have multiples of something, whether it's underwear, shirts, I'm trying to think.
Socks,
whatever it is. Yeah, socks is a really good example. Pins. Whenever I have multiples of something, I make sure they're all the same because I know Bex could care less if we have all the same. And that does two things for me. One is I have the optimal version of what I want, right?
Right.
I don't have just, there's a collection of hair ties or pins or underwear that some of this underwear is uncomfortable, but I might as well hold on to it or whatever. No. I have the ideal one. And then I also know when I lose it or break it, I know what to replace it with.
Yeah.
When my underwear rips or whatever, I decide, I have to bring more underwear back in my life. I know exactly. I don't have to go out there and morose over which type should I get. Should I try something new this time? The beauty about minimalism. I remember we talked to Frank, who's in our documentary, Minimalism, our Netflix documentary, and Frank's a minimalist architect, and we were sitting on his couch in his living room, and he said, it took me 3 years to find this couch, and I couldn't find it, so I had it built.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I did that, took so much time, invested this time and effort, is so I would never have to think about it again. I'm not going to have to replace this couch for the next 10, 20 years because I'm dissatisfied with it. And the same should be true for the little things in our lives. Even if it's a pin or a hair tie or a t-shirt, I have multiples of the same thing, and when they wear out or they break or I lose it, I can just say, let go of it. Bring a new one in. It's totally okay.
I totally agree, man. It's like with my black t-shirts, I might try a new brand.
Right.
And then maybe that new, like I'll get one of a new brand to try it out, and then all of a sudden that becomes my favorite black t-shirt.
Well, let's talk about that.
Then I go and I get multiple versions of that black t-shirt.
And you had this happen. So this is a good example. Let's say they stop making this pin. Mm-hmm. They stopped making the shirt that you bought. In fact, the quality reduced. The company sort of changed hands.
Yeah, I had to switch brands.
And
which
so
is fine.
When the quality reduced, you were like, I'm actively going to find a new brand now, but with the intent of I want to find the brand that I can continue to buy, not because you have brand loyalty, but because it makes the decision-making process easy, and you're not going to continue to experience decision fatigue. What Abby is experiencing here right now is excess fatigue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean... Well, the other thing too, man, is the experiment you did was really interesting, right? You had your favorites. You had that article that you did when we first started the Minimalists.com.
This was back in early 2011.
And they asked you, well, what are your favorite things? And you're like, here, this pair of shoes, pair of jeans, here's a shirt. And then you were like, wait a minute, like these are my favorite things. I'm putting a lot of meaning on these. I wonder what it'd be like to just get rid of these favorite things.
Yeah. Well, I think that's important because we do often couple meaning with our things. But the truth is our things don't have any meaning other than the meaning we give to them. So I had my favorite shirt then.
Right.
I had my favorite pair of Allen Edmonds dress shoes. I had my favorite pair of J. Crew jeans. And when that journalist asked me, or the blogger asked me, hey, because it was one of those weird things where it was like, hey, as a minimalist, what are your favorite things? And I'm like, yeah, I do have some favorite things. Here's my favorite shirt. Here's my favorite jeans. Here are my favorite shoes. And then as I was typing this up to him and sending him pictures, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why are these my favorite things? Well, because I get more value from them than the other things. But I realized, like, well, wait a minute. They're just things. And because they're it's a favorite thing, what if I got rid of it? Then I could get rid of the meaning I'm giving to these things. It was an exercise in letting go, not of the things necessarily, but of the meaning. And guess what? New things jumped up and became my favorites. If I were to hold on to those right now, I highly doubt they'd still be my favorite jeans.
Right.
Or my favorite shoes.
Yeah.
I'd just be holding on to them for no reason.
Yeah, it was almost 10 years ago. Something else definitely would have taken their place. So, Abby, we're not telling you to get rid of your favorite things, but she did ask. She's like, I just don't, should I get rid of my favorite things? And it's like, if they're your favorite things, that's fine. Hold on to them. But if they're causing you pain, then maybe you want to rethink how much attention you're giving those items. Like, I know for me, the more I kind of keep my thoughts going on and get focused on one thing, like I start to neurose over it. And I know that Abby said she's got a little bit of a mental illness. So, my question would be is how can I neurose less? I know meditation definitely helps with that for sure. But in the same token too, like you want a little friction, you want a little pain, you want a little bit of discomfort, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like you just don't want things to be super easy. But Abby, it's ultimately it's sunk cost when you lose those things.
Yeah.
But if
you have to be willing to let it go.
Yeah, if you've got a favorite hair tie though, Abby, then buy multiples of that hair tie,
and then get rid of the ones that aren't your favorite.
Yeah,
and it's gonna simplify. It's gonna streamline the collection of things you have, and then you're not gonna be worried about losing them because you'll realize that they are just things. Abby, I'd love to send you a copy of our book. It's called Essential. There's a whole chapter. Actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, I think I have a copy of it here. Sean was kind enough to set these out for us. It is an essay collection called Essential. And what camera should I hold this up to, Jordan? This one here? All right, there we go. It is called Essential. It's 150 essays about intentional living, but there's an entire chapter in here about stuff. And since you're dealing with your stuff right now, Abby, I think you'll find value in that. So we'll either send you the book, or if you like this podcast, you'll probably like the audiobook version of that book as well. It's our longest book. It's over a 6-hour audiobook. Or if you want the ebook version, then we're happy to send that to you as well. Sean, if you'd reach out to Abby, send her a copy of Essential Essays by the Minimalists.